Hello. Well, it is the 11th of January. It's Thursday. It's Fortnite. Da-da-da-da. Wow, still hurts a bit. Okay, well, excuse me, I spent a bit of a cough. We are almost halfway through January. It's the second blog of 2024. I went back to work on Monday. Work itself has been really good. I really like working at the college. I was supposed to end there at the end of January, so in a couple weeks' time, and go on to another six-form college, a bit more local to me. That seems to have fallen through. However, my current college, I think, is keeping me on. They've said so through the first week of February, quite possibly at least till half term, and then we'll just have to see. Everything's really up in the air at the minute there as far as staff when they can start. So that's why. Um, the commute was something that was really, really difficult, but I think it'll be less of an issue as I get more used to it, as the weather starts to get a little bit less brutal and the days get a little bit longer. It probably won't be so bad. Okay, so that's work. Been a few schedule changes. I think I am from next week taking over English language, and then the new person for English literature is going to start. Um, on Sunday, now Sunday was the last official day of the Christmas holiday season, unless you celebrate January 7th, which is the Orthodox Christmas, and I think in a couple days is the Orthodox New Year. It's pretty much over. Although I still see Christmas lights and Christmas trees up in some people's houses, and I don't know if that's a nice thing or just they haven't had a chance to take them down yet. But on January 6th, which is Three Kings Day, Epiphany, as a lot of people call it, but a lot of people seem to forget that that was the third anniversary of the attack on the Capitol building in the United States in Washington, D.C. And all this thing about the political news and about Donald Trump running again. And, my dad said something about memories fade and people don't, as time passes, people remember it as less and less severe. And I didn't think that was the case. I thought, how could you forget something like that? Um, well, the New York Times actually put that story something like on page 12 when it should have been on the front page, and I couldn't believe it. Which brings me to, I think a couple of weeks ago, I showed this book by Liz Cheney that I've been reading. I put it down over Christmas, and I just picked it up again the other day, and I'm already like halfway through it. It's really good. Um, and her account of that day was something that I read, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, we watched it on TV, and it looked scary enough just watching it on the news, but she was actually inside when it happened, and this you could just get a sense of, my God, these people didn't know if they were going to get out alive or not. It had to be absolutely frightening. And it just, her having the courage to do what she did and stand up to him and force the impeachment, get the impeachment thing going and not backing down. As the further I get into this book, the more respect I have for her. Pity what happened to her, but I think she's doing all right. She's got a best-selling book going. Yeah, I'm afraid I'm going to be through this thing by next week, which brings me to my next political read. Can't wait to read this. Wait for it. Wait for it. Woodward and Bernstein, All the President's Men. I've seen the film, and I thought this was kind of my first political memory, and I know a little bit about what happened, but I've never really understood the full story. Even to this day, even though I'm a history teacher, but this is an era of history I don't really focus on. I don't really teach. So I thought, well, you know what? Buy the flipping paperback and read it. It's only about $6. Read it. You've seen the film. Read the book. The books are always a lot more insightful. Bob Woodward is still alive and has written several other books, others about Nixon and about the current situation as well. Bernstein's still alive or not? I think so. But yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this and finally, hopefully, understanding the Watergate scandal in full. I remember it happening. I talked about it at work one day, that I remember the day that he left, and he got on the plane and he salutes the American public, and because he'd resigned. And I think he actually looked relieved finally that it was just all over, even though it wasn't quite the outcome I'm sure he wanted. Right on the deal, he resigned. He still got all of his salary and his pension and his benefits. Just wasn't president anymore. He got pardoned. But yeah, I was only 7 years old at the time, so I didn't really get the full political um, impact of what had gone on. So, and over the years, I've picked up bits and stuff, and I understand the general story, but I'm really looking forward to jumping into this. Right, gonna have to really live up hard to beat Liz Cheney's book, but wow. And that leads us also to, as I've been watching a lot of the documentaries and the podcasts about this as it unfolds, this whole political story. And like I said, this is not to be a political vlog. I just find it so fascinating. I'm a history teacher, and this is history happening day by day. Really interesting. We're in uncharted territory for the most part. And something that comes up a lot is the Federalist Papers, because that is the framework. The Constitution is what's in question, what the 14th Amendment says, but there's all this stuff about if Donald gets reelected, that he's going to get rid of the Constitution. I don't know if he's actually going to do that. I think a lot of the stuff maybe is a bit exaggerated. I don't think he could do it straight away, but anyway, but it's in danger. But it's also talking about what does it say, and what, because the language is open for interpretation. And you hear all this talk about the Federalist Papers, which is the framework of that being created. So I thought, well, you know what? I'm going to start reading them, just skimming them. I'm not going to sit here and read the Federalist Papers on here because I'll bore you to death. And the language is also very difficult. But anybody that's interested, you can buy it in paperback for about $6. You don't even have to do that. You can go onto the Library of Congress website and it's free. So if you ever want to read some of the Federalist Papers that they mention, like they'll talk about Federalist 21 or whatever, just as a random number, and as they're going through this. And I did skim the first one, and that is just the introduction that was written by Alexander Hamilton, where they talked about the need for a constitution and why we need a republic and some form of a central government. The United States did not want to be ruled by a king. And they had something called the Articles of Confederation, which was kind of like the European Union in a way. When the European Union came about, separate nation states, but one country, it didn't work. We seem to be doing a lot better with this current modern model. It just didn't work. So that the very first Federalist paper is about the need to create a central government, even though it was a risk because people were afraid of that. Anyway, right. What else talked about? I've been talking about quite a lot. Oh, work opportunities. Also on Sunday, I was doing my cycle. I'll get to the cycle challenge in a minute and working out, which has been not what it was last week, but I was still on holiday, but more than I was doing before Christmas. So anyway, I had not really an interview, but a discussion with someone who is doing revision guides and online things and online revision guides, and also questions and revision questions. And he's creating teams of people together to do, he's done science already. He's already got something like 7 or 8 schools on board. Again, this would be a revenue sharing thing. But this isn't a startup. This is something that's been going and now they're just expanding and they need people to jump in. So I'm very interested in that. I'm waiting to hear. He says I'll be back in touch probably in a few weeks with the next sort of steps with teams and what you can be doing. So I thought, yeah, I'm going to go for that. I've had a couple of online possibilities come up. The law one, I just talked to the person the other day, and he said there have been some developments, so he's going to be in touch very soon about that. I also applied to a tech company, and I'm not going to say which one it is. And I've seen them advertise quite a few things as well, but this was for a head of English. Now, this wouldn't be teaching, this would be creating materials. So I just thought, oh, you know what? Apply. So I sent my LinkedIn. They were advertising on LinkedIn first. So I sent my LinkedIn application in, and they wrote me back and they said, okay, what you need to do next is send your CV, a letter of application, all that other stuff. I've sent that in. The closing date for that is on Friday, but they did write back and acknowledge that they got that. So I started going, oh God, it's probably very competitive, very, very doubting myself. And I thought, you know what? Stop it. You've got 31 years of teaching experience. You've got a master's degree. You have got examining experience. You have just as good of a chance of getting shortlisted than probably anybody else on there. So stop doubting yourself. And I'd really like to maybe get that one. I had another really interesting one come up today, which is museum curation in London at the Imperial War Museum. Oh my God, does that sound like an interesting job? But I think you have to be in London to do it. I have written back and asked, is there any chance of it being a hybrid role? Because, oh, wow, what a cool job. Going through and displays and cataloging things and, really cool historical stuff. I love that. But yeah, we'll see. Got to ask. It never hurts to ask the question. Okay, let's go to working out and the cycle challenge. Well, working out is basically the cycle challenge and going to kickboxing. I did get to kickboxing on Tuesday after work, so I was really pleased I did that. I was going to go tonight, but I ended up not getting home until much later. And I just thought, look, have a weeknight off. Go Sunday. You can go Sunday. It's not going to kill you. So that's the plan. I'm going to go on Sunday and then have tonight because I do want to get in there for that 2 nights a week, at least. The cycle challenge, again, did more than I did last week, but before holiday, but not as much as I did last week because last week I was on holiday. Right. So remember, we got 2 challenges going. One is the Land's End to John O'Groats. The other one is cycling in the United States in 19, or however I can go in 2024. So I did about 55 kilometers for the week. I was a little disappointed. I thought even though being back at work, I could have done a bit more than that because I was just being a bit lazy on the weekend. But anyway, note it and try to do better next week. Next week, the goal is to get into a bit more of the kickboxing and do a bit more cycling. So let's bring up my screenshots. Share the screen. Are they all here? Okay, well, this was last week. Right, so let me make this. There we go. So as far as Land's End and John O'Groats, we were just between Taunton and Bridgewater because that was about 200 odd kilometers. So this week we are slightly further. Where have you gone? Oh, nuts. Hang on. Thought I opened that one. Oh, here it is. Okay, so this is Taunton. So you can see here, this is Taunton, and then we are just about to Clevedon, just outside of Nailsley. Been to Nailsley quite a few times for stick fighting tournaments, so that's where we are on that one. Okay, so the USA one, well, last week. We were here, this little blue line was how far down the state of Maine we were. So this week, although got to count everything, even though it's not that impressive compared to the week before, this red line is where we are now. So about 55 kilometers would be about there. So inching along slowly but surely, but the goal is to actually do a bit more each week. Getting back into work again is a bit hard. You got to, put all that, time when you're going to do everything. So not the worst start to the new year, but could potentially do more. Oh, excuse me, this cough's terrible. Plans for the weekend. Well, tomorrow, Friday, I've got a very long day at work because my timetable's changed, but it should be fine. It's all planned up, so it should be good. And like I said, it's sixth form. The kids are good. Saturday, it looks like, touch wood, we're finally going to get to go out to see the gray seals on a Saturday. It looks like the weather's supposed to be really nice up that way. It's supposed to be something like 14, 15 degrees and sunny in January. Yeah. My friend Pete and I have been planning this to do this for quite some time. And every time we get a weekend where both of us are free, either the weather's been rubbish or something's come up. So yeah, touch wood, this time we're going to do it. And we're really looking forward to that. That would be really cool. And then Sunday we'll be out to the allotment. Not got a heck of a lot to do out there. Must be just be touching up. I'll probably find maybe do some mulching, let the geese out for a little while so they can have a little bit of a walk. But other than that, then back in the afternoon, have a bit of a chill out before training. Right. So this is the vlog of the week, second vlog of 2024. Everybody have an amazing weekend. Finally, the rain has stopped. I think we're supposed to have bright weather up through until next week, and then I think we're supposed to get more rain again. So everybody, enjoy, stay safe, and ciao.